All good.
Yep.
Teresa.
Yes.
Let's start. Good afternoon. Thank you for attending the Monday, April 18th County Commissioner meeting. We'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Okay, the first item on our agenda today is a public hearing to establish lease and execution of lease for new jail. I'll open the public hearing now, and we'll start with the approval of a resolution to establish the building corp. And in that, we'll be appointing the members, John Lefevre, Brian Emmerich, and John Myers, which John Lefevre and Brian Emmerich are existing members of an existing building corps. So really this just cleans it up and adds John Myers to that board.
Actually, Brenda Lease's notes, that resolution is supposed to be done after the close of the public hearing.
Oh, it'll need to be done after. Okay,
I just want to double check that.
gotcha. Okay. Well, that being said, then I'll open it up for public comment. Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing and we will move on to the resolution. Any discussion from the commissioners on the resolution?
Just done.
Commissioner Basinger? She muted. Okay. Well, we have a quorum if we want to proceed while they figure that out. I'd entertain a motion for the resolution, and that's resolution 2022-06.
And I'll second that.
Yep, so I'll make the motion. I said I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-06.
And I will second that. And being that Teresa is joining us virtually, I'll call for a voice vote. Commissioner Schrumpf?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. And is Teresa available?
Sure. I don't see a microphone. I don't know.
Okay. This is the copy you want signed.
Yes.
Or you should totally move over. Sign up.
It's not letting me unmute myself, so I don't know if we
Oh,
should.
yeah, that's
hear-
fine. So for audio, do you mind just staying on the line?
Yes, yeah.
And George and I just took a vote on the resolution 2022-06, and I'll afford you the opportunity to vote on that as well.
Aye.
Perfect. Next item on the agenda then would be our county attorney, Matt Shipman.
So the thing and the next thing, I guess, is we sign the lease that is contemplated by that resolution, and if you have that, and I've got it with Pat to make a note, just by way of history, the building corporation previously today did approve and sign that lease. Now, and I'll notarize, so if I accidentally have a spot where it's a notary, where a tab is, just ignore that, just sign it where the commissioners are. So the resolution kind of contemplates the auditor and the board being authorized to execute the lease, not the city actually.
Will that require any form of a motion, or is that covered?
It's, the resolution actually says the auditor and board are hereby authorized and directed to execute the lease. So
Got it. Okay.
in essence, you've already authorized it. It's just kind of whatever you need to do it. That's what.
Yep.
While you guys are doing that, I can talk about a couple of other things. In the last meeting, Scott's not here. Scott, oh, there he is. Sorry, I couldn't see back there. Scott brought up this, the idea of how are we going to deal with exemptions through the health department for the countywide regional sewer district. And subsequent to that meeting, Scott and I, and Lease Decker, the health department's attorney, have had a meeting and begun to work on an ordinance that sets kind of unified testing and standards and fees for the, so Scott has a good set of rules to follow for purposes of the exemption. I think the plan from the health department at this point is to get that ordinance approved by the health department at the end of the month, and then be in front of the commissioners at your first meeting on May the 3rd, I believe the Tuesday, May the 3rd, for approval. That ordinance then will establish exactly what it is Scott's supposed to do as far as this process. Now that just gets the procedure. Ultimately, at least as far as I know, we have not had any exemptions filed as of yet, but if we get a rush on those, I know from Scott's standpoint, this could potentially be a great deal of work, and that we do have either the opportunity to hire an outside consultant through the health department to do with that, or I think, and Scott, I don't want to speak for you, but I think Scott's going to need some help if ultimately we get a whole run on these. At this point, we don't have any. They have 60 days to do it. And so we just want to be prepared, and that's why the ordinance is coming. The only other thing I have is we did work through an issue with Tiffany with the software licensing company, and then we did get them to respond and open it up so they could finish up their year-end accounting things. And then I think Katy's here to present the the revised no parking ordinance to deal prior to them having an event with the no parking issues we've been having on a Union. And so I'll be able to answer any questions to that. I think procedurally we've worked through how to make it, not just how to go and put no parking, but how do we actually then ticket it, enforce it, collect it, all those mechanisms. We've worked through with Judge Ball and with Cindy. I'm not sure if Cindy's here. I think everybody's on the same page and understands how we're going to deal with that now. So I think that's it. Unless you guys have questions for me. I did look over the FDOT grant as well. That's in your packet, as well as the ARP funds. And those are fun.
Okay, commissioners, any questions for Matt?
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Basinger? Teresa, any questions for Matt?
I don't as of now. I'm sorry, there's a lag between what's being, what I'm watching online and then what I'm hearing on the phone. I
Gotcha.
don't have any questions.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is going to be the Katy Highway Department, the amendment to no parking ordinance, annual operations report, and right-of-way permit.
Good morning.
Morning.
So as Attorney Shipman was saying, we kind of collaborated with a bunch of different departments for the amended no parking ordinance, and you have a copy of this, correct? Okay, I sent an updated copy to Tiffany. We just worked out some verbiage as far as how those are to be paid and what happens if it gets past the period of time. This would be in, I believe we said section 4, subsection E. So that was the only thing that was amended. Attorney Shipman took a look at that and kind of changed the wording a little bit. It just specifies that his office will then handle it if it goes unpaid through the clerk's office from that point on. But as he also said, it was just more or less to define more clearly, I guess, how the sheriff's department is going to enforce this ordinance, and then how anyone who was ticketed would then follow through the process, what those penalties would be, and then so on and so forth, to complete the process as a whole.
The reason it's set up that way, just so you guys know, it's the same way that the dog barking one set up, because there's not a state statute. The only way for us to enforce it is unfortunately with me doing it, which is about the last thing I want to do. But ultimately what Tiffany and Jason and I are all hoping is that we're never going to have to. We do, as part of it, they would have to pay attorney's fees. Hopefully all of this is just going to be a deterrent, that maybe there'll be a few tickets, but that very quickly after that, with the no parking signs and with some, hopefully a little bit more good behavior out of the urging it anyway, it'll be fixed.
Ordinance number on this?
Yes, so the ordinance number is going to be 2022-03.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2022-03.
Second,
We have a motion and a second for ordinance number 2022-03, and I'll call for the voice vote. Commissioner Schrumpf,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
aye.
and I am also an aye.
You have an official copy.
Okay, do you want to move into your annual operations report?
Yes, so the annual operations report is something that we actually have to complete every year that just lets the state know how we have used the funds that they have distributed. There's a couple of different accounts that we have the money that comes into us from the auditor of the state. And then there's a couple different ways that that is actually computed. It's all done at the state of Indiana. It's based on percentage population, road miles, things like that. But there's a couple of different funds there, as well as the community crossings grant and the IPEP safety grant that we received last year. It kind of just breaks it down as to what types of receipts that we got in. So it's what types of monies we received from the state or the grants. And then it also specifies what types of disbursements, so how we spent our money in and which categories we spent those in. And they're all pretty specific. So if you have any questions pertaining to any individual ones, I can definitely answer those. But in addition to our financial report for our receipts and expenditures, there's debt information, which we do not have any. There's our mileage that we report in there, and it just lets the state know what kind of road mileage we have based on surface type. So we did have 3 miles that we had that were deteriorating pavement that we chip sealed, so that kind of just takes 3 miles from one to the other. But other than that, we report this to the state, and that stays on file with them in the auditor's office. And that's basically just kind of, I think, their double check for us being responsible for reporting the way that our monies are spent. So for this, it does require signatures for us to be able to turn it, well, actually for us to be able to just keep that signature copy on file. And then by the instructions that actually are in this report here, names actually will just get typed into the form after the approval. And we'll keep the signed copy on file, and then the typed copy does get electronically submitted.
So in this case, would we take a vote to accept the annual report and then sign?
I'd make a motion that we approve the annual operational report for local roads and streets and bridges.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Schrum,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger, and Commissioner Banks is aye.
And I do have signature page here. And since Commissioner Bansinger is actually present, signing, Tiffany, how do you want to?
I can hold on to it and get with her and have her sign it for you.
Anything else for Katie?
One last thing is the right-of-way permit that I have. I did email a little bit of information about this right-of-way permit and the files pertaining to this permit to you all, because it's a very extensive file. It's to do with the regional water and sewer district project. So basically, they sent us right-of-way permits that's kind of all encompassing for all of the areas that they're going to be working in. This is kind of, as I understand it, preliminary designs. It's nothing that's 100% set in stone. They just wanted to kind of get the ball rolling with the approval to work in the right-of-way. So they did pay the $40 permit fee that we do have in place for the submission of the right-of-way permit, but there's really not any way for us to say surefire number of borings or open cuts or things like that they're going to be doing. So I don't know if we want to present a couple of options to whether or not we set just a flat fee for the whole project that they were to pay that covers this. Obviously, inspections would be done afterwards to make sure everything is completed as it should be. Whether or not we just want to waive the fees because of the extent of the project and what it's for, or if you really kind of want to just nail it down to brass tacks and tell them that they need to give a concise number of things.
As I recall, when we discussed this in our last commissioner meeting, we all kind of leaned toward maybe assessing the fees later after the work has been completed, and then billing in one lump sum for the fees. But the concern was that information would not be communicated well to the highway department as far as where they're working and what they're doing if we're not having them come in and apply for a permit each time. So what plan do you have to make sure that you know where they are and they know the rules to play by wherever they are?
Sure. So I was in contact with, I don't know, his name is Daniel Byam. He's a senior staff engineer with the company that is, it's Jones, Petrie, and Rafinsky. They're the ones who are initially working on this here. They do have a complete set of project plans where it really does lay out everything that they're going to be doing as far as every area, each crossing that they're going to be doing, what type of a cut it is. But like I said, it is, I guess, subject to change. I don't think it would change drastically, but they may choose to do a bore in one case instead of an open cut or vice versa. So we know where every location is, and they submitted for everything. So Huesi, Dunphy, There's an area on East County Line Road, and then I think the bulk of it is in Stable Acres. But like I said, it's just subject to some minor changes here and there, but we do have all of the preliminary engineering plans that they have for the project.
And commissioners, how would you like to move forward with that?
Well, I can tell you, because it's really Whitley County that we're dealing with, the regional sewer district. My recommendation would be to waive the fees. And I guess my question is there a lot of work that we have to do with the highway? Is there a lot of inspection that?
Realistically, if they complete it as the ordinance is in place and by the specifications for any work in the right of way, the highway department and Whitley County as a whole should not have any work to do because it specifies that it should be replaced with like materials to a standard that was like or better than when they started the work to begin with. So inspection wise, it's just kind of going and making sure that there are no concerns after that portion of the project is complete. So that's more just a visual. And then driving over those areas to make sure that there's no indentations in the pavement or what it may be.
Thank you, Katie.
Commissioner Basinger, any comments?
I guess now that George is present and he voiced when he about just waiving the fees because we are dealing with our own residents in our own county, I would be in favor of that. But I'm willing to hear if somebody else disagrees.
I mean, I'm indifferent, I think. The only reason I would have said that let's waive the fees up front and maybe reassess later is because after everything is done, then we'll know what involvement our highway department had in it. And you know, then we could come up with a reasonable number for fees later on. But I mean, I'm really indifferent. I agree that it is the Whitley County Regional Sewer District. And it's projects for them investing in sewer infrastructure in our county. So I'm indifferent. I'm fine with waiving the fees. I just don't want to run into a problem later on where it's costing us additional. We have no way to recover it.
So just for general information, for each open cut on pavement, we do ask contractors to pay $500 per open cut. So with this project being as extensive as it is, there's going to be several open cuts. There will be a lot of different borings, and the borings are $50 per crossing for those. So the fees do have the potential to mount up pretty quickly and be pretty substantial. These are charged to the contractor that would be doing the work. So by default, I don't know if then it would end up costing additional monies for the project itself, but that is something to consider.
The district pays the permit fees and
Okay, well, it'd be great if you could make a motion for how we.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to keep the fees down for our residents. And I think this is one way that we can, in a small way, that we can help on that. So I'd make a motion that we waive the fees for this project.
I have a motion on the floor. Second. Are you still with us, Commissioner Basinger?
Yes.
Okay. And do you wish to make a second?
I think after all of the discussions going on, I think for now, we should just defer the fees, depending on how much work our county highway does have to put into it. And if there are any potential issues going on, and then, I don't know, I think that we should just defer it for now and look at the totality of the project when it's done, and then assess what a fair fee would be. And if the fair fee is nothing, then that's great. But if there's a whole lot of work that our highway department has to put into it, I don't think it's fair that all of the citizens should have to pay for that project if it's at a very high cost.
I'm inclined to agree with Commissioner Basinger on that. Can't second your motion. So hearing no second, your motion dies for a lack of a second. And Commissioner Basinger, would you like to make a motion then?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we defer all fees until the end of the project and we can look at the work that has been done and a fair fee to assess.
Okay, I have a motion and I will second. And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, or actually voice vote, Commissioner Schrum,
No,
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and Commissioner Banks is an aye. I think that, that's good because it'll give us an opportunity if fees do need to be assessed later on. And, I can see both sides of it though. I understand, George, where you're coming from.
Do they have to sign the?
Yes, the
permit then?
permit will need signed on the back side. And again, this is just approval of the actual permit itself, and I will pass on to the fees for the completion.
So that's likely summer to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next up, we have Paula Worden and Amy Motter for a 2023 grant application. Perfect. And Julie Jensen Kelly.
And Julie Jensen Kelly. We are here today to request a signature on a letter of support to submit the 2023 Department of Corrections grant. This usually brings a little over 800,000 between all the different components. There's the funding for community corrections, which includes work release, alcohol and drug, probation. Okay, probation and then jail treatment. We just have to have a letter of support.
Sure. We appreciate all that you all do. And, we appreciate the grant too, when it's awarded. So thanks for going after the grants.
We've been receiving this grant for over 30 years, so we've been very fortunate.
Yeah,
oh, great.
very blessed.
So I just gave you copies of the budgets that, as of today, I need to prove them, but just so you have some idea what we're asking.
Sure. And is this the document that will be signed?
Just here's the letter.
Just the letter?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd make a motion that we approve the letter for support of the grant funding for community corrections and justice reinvestment.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Commissioner Schrumpf,
Yes,
Commissioner Basinger, and Commissioner Banks and I.
Thank you.
Anything else? That was really easy.
That was easy. Unless you have anything for us.
No.
Chad, do you want to keep this
Um,
or anything?
yeah, I'll keep it.
I'll email you the final grant if you want.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Yep, that'd be great.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay, next up is Nathan Bilger with the plat approval.
It's a minor plat request that was reviewed by the planning commission at their February meeting, if I recall correctly. Be called Yellowfinch Pass. This is a replat of 2 lots in Cardinal Pass to be renamed with this replat Yellowfinch Pass. What they're doing is reconfiguring those two lots and shifting the frontage in order for the owner to have a little bit more room to build an outbuilding, and then he'd sell off the one lot. The Plan Commission did approve it contingent upon NDOT approving a driveway permit, and from what we understand from the petitioner, that's forthcoming. If for some reason it does fall through, then the plat would not get recorded. But from the commissioner's aspect, the right of way for the county road and the easements are what you'd be looking at as you typically do.
Any questions?
Questions on? I'd make a motion that we approve the plat approval on the Yellowfinch Pass subdivision.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Schrumpf,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Anything else for Nathan? Okay, next item on the agenda is the Equal Employment Opportunity Plan, EEOP. And this plan is being asked for the Victims of Crime Act grant. There's been a grant application that requires us to have this plan established. So everyone should have received it in their packet. Has everyone had a chance to review? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to accept the Equal Employment Opportunity Plan.
After looking over the plan, I'd make a motion that we approve the Equal Employment Opportunity Plan for Whitley County as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Schrumpf,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and Commissioner Banks is an aye. Okay, next up on the agenda is payroll and accounts payable claims.
Okay, I had a chance this morning to take a look at payroll and accounts payable. Everything looked fine. I didn't see anything that looked unacceptable. I'd make a motion that we approve payroll claims.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion for payroll and a second.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. You made the motion, right?
Oh,
Teresa
yeah.
Seconded it. So I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Schrumpf,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and Commissioner Banks is an aye.
And I'd make a motion that we approve the accounts payable claims.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Anything further? Commissioner Schrumpf,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger, and Commissioner Banks is an aye. And the next item on the agenda is our previous meeting minutes. This would be for the April 4th, 2022 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review?
Yes. I'd make a motion that we approve the commissioners' minutes for April 4th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those, or I'm sorry, Commissioner Schrum,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. Is there anything from the public, anything that anyone would like to add? Yep, Katie Fry, go ahead.
I did receive a notification from NDOT this morning that is pertinent to Whitley County, and I just wanted to make sure to share that with you and then as well. But they are scheduled starting on or around April 25th. They're going to be doing some pipe replacement and then resurfacing of US 30. It extends from State Road 9 at the intersection where the hospital is. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, not the intersection where the hospital. State Road 9 and then State Road 5 in Marvin. So they are going to be doing some night paving on the section between Lincoln Way and State Road 9 sometime in June. So that will help a little bit with that clogging. They are going to be decreasing the speed limit to 45 mile an hour through there too, but there's going to be intermittent. About mid-September is when they're estimating that project to be completed.
I want to let you know, I really appreciate you establishing a social media account for the highway department as a way to communicate with the constituents. And I assume that that'll be posted there as well. People can find that there. Yep, perfect. Is there anything else? Yep, Dale Booth.
Dale Booth with Economic Development. I just wanted to make a comment. Joseph D'Italia passed away last week. And, Joe, for 10 years, did investments in Whitley County. Big part of Real Connect. Getting that
Dale, can I ask you to actually, so that as people watch this later on, it'll be a lot easier to hear. If you could just start over.
Yeah, Dale Booth, Economic Development. I just wanted to take a moment, kind of for the record, and acknowledge Joe D'Italia, who lost his battle with cancer last week. But he loved working in Whitley County. I know Commissioner Schrum had heard him say that. For about 10 years, he invested and built buildings here, but just he always had a smile on his face and a warm spot for Whitley County, and I just wanted that to be acknowledged.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a great asset to Whitley County. I just, it was amazing to work with him and again, he did love Whitley County.
Can you let the meeting minutes show?
Thank you.
Anything from anyone else? Okay, Tiffany, is anything? Matt, anything additional?
I've got a couple more signatures.
Okay. Yep. Commissioner Schrum,
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Basinger,
I just wanted to, obviously you, Commissioner Banks and Commissioner Schrum both know that I know, but I just wanted to let the department heads and anyone else know that I'm really sorry that I could not be physically present at the meeting. I started getting ill yesterday and woke up very, very sick today. So I decided to stay home so I would not get anyone else sick, but I'm available by phone or email, and I will be back in the office as soon as possible.
great, get well soon.
Thank you.
And I have nothing to add, so I will adjourn the meeting.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, I do.
So this was Bill's second year. So